Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. You're about to see my Allegro 1-minute overview and final thoughts. This is designed to see if this game warrants more of your time. If it does, just keep watching because then you'll see my full intro overview and final thoughts. However, if you don't want to be spoiled anything and you want to skip right to the full review, use the time index below in YouTube. Factory Funner is a puzzle game for 1 to 6 players where you'll be putting different supplies of different colored goods, using pipes to route them, and having them be collected in certain reservoirs. So each player will have their factory board, and you'll be drafting machines that you're going to be placing there, and then supplying them with an unlimited supply of that colored good, but then also needing to output it into different reservoirs. But as the game goes on, each machine you add changes your puzzle, where you'll be picking up and removing things and moving them and adding new pipes, and you got to make sure that everything fits, but you're going to be making money for the machines that you place, minus the amount of things you had to do to alter to get it there, and also the ones that you fulfilled will give you huge points in the end as well. There's also different ways to play the game, a speed way or a non-speed way, the one I recommend, which is just drafting tiles in player order. And there's backsides of the board to even out the competition or have a solo campaign. Factory Funner is a streamlined, abstract puzzle game. I love how easy the rules are. If it makes sense, it's probably legal. That's true. I love that you're placing for now, but you're constantly planning for later. If I put this here, I put myself in a corner, thinking long term as well. You're constantly morphing your factory every turn. Maybe picking up things you placed last turn to make room for new things, but you're trying to fulfill inputs getting you a lot of $3 per dot at the end, which might make it worth it in the end. I love that you can balance the playfield with the boards, with the better players playing on more difficult boards, and the solo game can get harder as you get better and better at it. On the negative side of things, the standard speed rules are awful with this game. Play the non-speed variant absolutely at the beginning, and I think it's much more enjoyable. Setup and takedown can be a little bit longer for how short the game is, just because of how many different pipe types there are. And it's definitely not for those that don't like abstract puzzles, but if you do, and that's you, I think you'll enjoy this one, Factory Funner. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be building our own factory. We're going to be having different supplies of different colors of goods, and they're going to be flowing, or we're going to be making pipes for them to go down. We're going to be trying to collect those and inputs to outputs and making just a beautiful factory. Today we're taking a look at Factory Funner, which is a sequel to the original game, which is called Factory Fun. So let me show you how to play it. I'll see you on the other side. In Factory Funner, you're going to be building a factory, and in there, they're going to be supplying different colors of product. And you're going to be using pipes to connect these, and they're going to be getting fulfilled and going into some of these different collectors as well, but you're making a factory with goods. Now, each player is going to get a factory board, and over the course of the game, you're going to be drafting tiles and placing them on that board. For example, let's say I drafted this tile. This tile needs green goods to go in this way, showing the arrow, and it's going to output 3 of blue. So I'll also be adding a green supply, which is going to be going into here, which can supply an unlimited amount of green. This one needs 1, and it's going to output 3 blue. These reservoirs, you only have 3 of these in the game, and this will collect any one color. So in this case, it's fulfilled because you have a closed loop, and this is doing this. Now this is going to get us $4, but we're also, because we fulfilled this, we'll place one of these sort of black and clear chips on here, and at the end of the game, every dot that we have this on will get $3. So you're trying to fulfill a lot of things. However, each piece that you placed or moved or rotated or whatever, you reduce $1. So this gave us $4, but we added this and this minus 2, so we would have made $2. And so, boom, we would have gotten $2 there. The other players would have done the same thing. But maybe next turn, we drafted this tile. So we might start moving things. You can't move any of the machines that you've placed, but anything else can be moved. But remember, you're losing $1 for every time you do that. So maybe I routed it like this. I removed this and moved it over here. I placed this here. The 3 output goes into a 2 input. It can handle, it needs at least 2. So there's that. And then this is going to need 3, and it's coming from here. I put some pipes out there. So I moved this and I added 1, 2, 3, so it's a total of 4. I'm going to get this, which is $9. This is upside down. There's a little dot there. Minus 4, so I made $5. Plus, remembering, all these things that I fulfilled are going to get me $3 per dot at the end of the game, too. So then let's say next turn I got something like this. Now what do I do? So let's say I move that output reservoir here. I put the new machine here, this output 1. This one needs 1 of orange. Great. And that's outputting it to this. And this one it needs 1 pink. And I place the supply there like that as well. So again, little by little, you're going to start morphing and changing and moving and adding pipes and planning for both later and now. So that's just 3. You end up placing a total of 8 of these, and it gets harder and harder with each piece. And again, at the end of the game, you're going to look at each of the dots that you still fulfill with the chips, and you'll get $3 for each of those. Whoever has the most money at the end is the winner. So how do you get these tiles? Well, there's 2 different ways. I recommend the non-speed variant, which is in the back of the rule book. This one is you flip over 3 tiles, and when it's a player's turn, they select one, and then a new one comes out. And they can start placing their thing as other players are selecting and they're thinking, and it just goes around and around like that. The main way that the rules say to do it is that, let's say you're playing with 4 players, each player basically, you put a tile 1 per player, and then each player flips it at the same time, and it's a speed game where you have to decide which one you want without picking it up and looking to see how it fits or rotating and anything, and you just take it. And you might be left with something bad, you know, and there's different modifiers that would happen whether you're the first one to take or the last one. No, you don't get any penalties if you take the last one, you don't build it, things like that. But the speed game here does not work well for me with as much thinking as there is. So I highly recommend play the non-speed variant. Now the other cool thing is there's different sides of each board, and the back side is an asymmetric side where all of them are different. This is really cool for 2 reasons. One is when you play the solo game, if you score a certain amount of points on the A board, you go to the next board. And it gets harder and harder each time you pass a level. You use a different board that's a little harder, then you have to make that threshold again. And so it makes it a very good solo experience to work through a campaign. Now, the other thing is, if I've played this game a lot, I'm going to destroy someone who's never played it before. I can choose a harder board, and they can choose an easier board. It allows you to balance it out. Really good idea here. Yeah, Factory Funner is a very streamlined puzzly game. I mean, turns are easy. Get a tile, place a tile, maybe move or remove components to make it work. And I love the rule in the rulebook where it says, if it makes sense, it's probably legal. And it's true, it's very streamlined. It's like, oh, okay, I can't do this because this is just, you know, this doesn't work. This looks like it works. And usually that's the case. And I think that's really cool. It's so streamlined. Place a tile, maybe move or rotate, lose money for each one you do that, next turn. You do it 8 times, you're done. It's quick, 30 minutes, moves fast. I love that you're constantly morphing your factory. It's a constant revolving puzzle where it's like, okay, I placed this. Okay, now I did this and I moved this and I moved that and now I got this place. Good, next one. Oh gosh, how am I gonna deal with this one? Oh, this is the best one. Let me put this over here, but now I'm gonna move this, but this is gonna put me in a corner over here. And you're constantly morphing your factory, and it's really fun with that. You've got both short-term planning, which how am I gonna get this in there now? Is it worth it for me to do it now? Versus how am I setting myself up for the future? Great short-term, long-term planning here. I love that when you're trying to fulfill all those inputs, getting you $3 at the end, that's big, because you might play something and go, oh man, I made no money this round. In fact, I actually went backwards in money because I had to rearrange the factory so much to put this in there, but I got like 6 dots covered. That's gonna be $18 at the end, right? So it's kind of cool that you can kind of sacrifice short-term for long-term gains. It's like sort of like a little economic game in disguise here. I love that you can balance the play field with the boards. Hey, this is clear. If you've played this before, you're gonna destroy a player who hasn't played it. But you can take one of the boards, play it on the B side. And the boards on the B side change. They get harder and harder as you go up. So you could be like, hey, I'm gonna play with the medium B side of the board. Was it close? No, I still killed you. I'll go to a harder board and play you next time. You're gonna be getting better, and I can now, tailor it so that we're even until we're playing on the same board. Brilliant. I love that it can self-balance like this. Also, because of that, the solo game gets more difficult after completion. Solo game works fine. You're placing the things down there. If you make a certain amount of points, well, you go to the next board and you use the B side. Very clever way to sort of ramp things up and work your way through to try to get better and better. So overall, this is a very good, streamlined, puzzly game. If you like abstract puzzles, this is definitely one to check out. On the negative side of things, the standard way to play, as I showed in the overview, are the speed rules. I like speed games a lot. But typically when you're thinking about things that are like gut reaction, maybe think of one thing that might lead to a second thing and then do it. Some of those fun speed games are fun. This game's a brain burner. And to mix a speed variant with the brain burnerness, and it says in that variant, you can't pick up the tile and rotate it and see if it fits. You just gotta look at it and then look at your board and go, I want this one real quick. I don't know anyone that likes that version of the game. I'm surprised it's the real variant, the real way to play, but luckily they were smart enough to include the no speed variant, which I highly recommend. This is the version you play. Absolutely sure the first handful of times you play the game, because you're not going to be good enough to look at it and know what to grab that quickly, especially without like looking at it and looking at your board and stuff. So I highly recommend play the non-speed version, and then if you get to be an expert, try that and see if you like it. I thought it ruined the game, quite honestly, but it's okay. You don't have to play with that one. Just play with the non-speed variant. Also, setup and takedown time can be time-consuming. There's so many different pipe types. I think there's 11-ish. And to get them all situated and sorted is kind of a pain in the butt. But that's just a minor quibble here because the game is very good. And this definitely isn't for those that don't like abstract puzzles. But after watching this, you should know if this game is for you just by the puzzly nature of it. This has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships with board games by helping you find the next one you'll love. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing, thematic, premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be building a factory. We're going to be routing pipes to different reservoirs.